Good afternoon, everybody. This is Daniel, DB Podcast. Today we have a special guest, Steve Gamlin. He is a radio host for over 35 years. And he's there going to talk to us about his experience, how he can help us add more values to our marketplace. And then he has a lot of good story to tell us today. Let's welcome aboard Steve Gamlin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Daniel. Thank you so much for inviting me to the show, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
My pleasure, Steve. Steve, talk to us more about yourself, how you get to the radio show industry.
Yeah, when I was 11 years old, which I'm 57 now, so it was a long time ago. When I
Wow,
was 11, I wanted to be a radio DJ, a
wow,
stand-up comedian, an author of my own books, and a teacher of people, but not in a classroom. And over the past, let's see, 46 years, I enjoyed being in the radio industry for 10 years. I performed stand-up comedy for 7. I owned my DJ business for 28 and a half years. I'm the author so far of 4 self-published books, and I've been a speaker now for just over 21 years. So I've done every single thing I wanted to do, but in between each one, there were some big crashes and burns and a lot of learning experiences. And I say that with air quotes with my fingers, which if you're only listening right now, I'm
yeah,
giving the big gestured air quote learning
wonderful.
experiences in between. But every single thing I've done, I learned something that took me into the next level. And so I've learned a lot over all these years.
Perfect, Steve. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us tonight. Steve, what is the thing that you love from being a radio host?
You know, what I love the most is when I would meet people or if they would call or I would see them now, not so much back when I was on the radio. When somebody reaches out on social media and whether it's a show I was a guest on that they heard or one of my own podcasts and they say, how did you know I needed to hear that message today? I listened to you, I
Wonderful.
heard your story and it really spoke to me and it impacted my day. That is what I appreciate the most. And some people have been so kind that they've actually typed it and put it on a social media post. And the ultimate rating is what my mom calls the MMC, meaning made mama cry.
Wow,
If somebody said
wonderful.
something nice and it made my mom cry, she would call and tell me, that person is wonderful.
Wow. That's amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
What you're just saying right now, Steve, very important that when someone can listen to us, something that we inspired and that inspiration touched people's life. Maybe that person is facing in that particular word, you know, make it say, wow, that word just came on time, the moment that I needed it. This is wonderful, experience, and you feel that your word add values to people, your word give hope that moment that person needed it. That's wonderful, Steve. I really understand what you mean, because we don't talk for ourselves, we talk for listeners.
Mhm.
That amazing. And then you say that you wrote many books. Tell us one of the books that you wrote that impacted many people's life. One of the book.
Yeah. I think my favorite was one that was actually written. Uh, well, I did the work, but a little rescued Yorkie Pomeranian dog named Super Teddy got all the credit. He
Okay.
was a dog that my late wife and her mom adopted in 2009.
Okay.
And he had an amazing story of survival. He was the only survivor to a stray mama dog down in New Orleans. And he was rescued and flown up to New England, and my wife and her mother adopted him.
Okay.
And according to her mother, that's when I started making him famous.
Wow.
So he was love in a fur coat.
Hmm.
And I used to look at him. He was like a little old man in a dog costume. And I started to look at him and we took a bunch of pictures and I thought, well, if he was talking in this picture, he would be saying this as a lesson. And I
Wow.
wound up creating 20 of them and I put them together in a book with pictures of him. And it was
Wow.
called Bust Out of Your Crate, Super Teddy's Top 20 Tips for People to Be as Happy as Dogs.
My play. That's wonderful
And
because I
it
love
was
dogs
fun.
too. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great. What is the name of that dog? What is
What's that?
the name of that dog? The name
Oh,
of
Super Teddy.
Super Teddy is still
Super
alive?
Teddy was his. Unfortunately, no, he passed away in
Passed
May
away.
of 2020, but
Oh, sorry to hear that.
he was, thank you. He was so loved. And
Okay.
it's funny. I mean, years later now, I still have people, if I post a picture of him, that reach out and say, "Oh my gosh, I miss Super Teddy. He was
Okay.
just the coolest dog ever." And he was.
He was.
So I'm happy he lives on through the book that he and I created
Yeah,
together.
that's wonderful. That's great, Steve. Steve, I have another question for you.
Mhm.
How people could be not a great radio host, how people can impact other people on the radio? Because when we speak a word of to others, there's an impact. You know, for the time being, we people use media for different ways. People doesn't need to go to a radio station to speak. People can use the phone. We have a lot of medias. You know, people can express themselves. But when you see your host, your radio host, you study for that, you get a passion. I believe there's something different that normal people that use media to spread words that bring people down, or words that criticize others, or words that only take something negative. What message you can give to some people when they're going to take media to think, to understand your word can be against you, your word can impact people's life, and your word can cause some damage. What you can advise those people for the time being? Because people say, I'm free to say whatever I want, but
Yeah.
they can understand that your word is not, you can say whatever you want, but you have to know what to say and how to say it. Can you
Yeah.
talk to us about that a little bit, please?
Sure. We all have the choice every single day, and you and
Mhm.
I make very similar choices, I'm imagining.
Yes,
We can
yeah,
put positive energy into the world, which is like a plus sign,
yes,
or we can be divisive and put negative energy out there. And
yes.
gosh, it seems some days like the negative gets the most attention and it's very loud. But what I suggest to people is to think of what you've gone through in your own life, what you've survived, the
Hmm.
challenges you've had. And if you can reach out, and every time you get behind a microphone or on a camera, whether it's a traditional radio station or a podcast like this, I mean, gosh, now with the digital platforms, it's so easy to do this.
Hmm.
Imagine you're talking to someone, whether it's a family member or a close friend, whom you care very much about. Instead of saying, I'm talking to 10,000 people right now, I'm talking to one person.
Yes, yes,
And as though they're right in front of you. And if you're on a camera, you look at that camera as though you're looking into the eyes of somebody you care about.
yep.
And you speak your version of how
Hmm.
you've survived everything. You speak the energy you want to see them putting into the world as well as yourself. You see, you find the good in people. And so many people look at the dark clouds all the time and they complain about the clouds. Here's what people like you and I do, Daniel.
Yes.
We look for those cracks in the clouds, like at the end of a storm when those little rays of sun start to come through.
Hmm.
That's what I look for. Even if
Yes,
even if things are going bad, and I've had a very
yes.
difficult past 9 months since my wife passed away, and every single day I just look for that one little ray. And that's what I suggest to people if they're ever going to be a guest on podcasts or have
Hmm.
their own or go into traditional radio is to bring their best energy to the microphone because we never know what people are going through that day.
Yes.
And people are looking for heroes. And to me, a hero is anybody who intentionally leaves a situation better than they find it.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Steve. See, there's something that you just related. Your wife passed away. My condolences. I don't know when she passed, but
Thank
I
you.
understand when your wife. There's three people when they passed that affect our lives: mom, dad, and wives. You know,
Yeah.
and then because those people always by our side to take care of us, anything like that. And I very, very, you know, concerned about that last,
Thank
and
you.
then there's something you say, I would think about that. We need to understand when we speak, it could be on a camera or on a microphone, we speak to one person
Yes.
because your word not going to satisfy everybody because each person have different needs, different reason they turn off a radio station or they go to a podcast. but one word to that person can change his entire life. And
Mm.
then you as a host, what the most important accent we can use to reach to people? Because people use different tone of voice, they use different kind of things. There's people when they speak on the radio, they just laugh, they talk things that anything, but they don't base specific topic. And then what do you think is best? We can go to or radio station randomly talk, or do we use to choose a specific topic that person can find himself or herself in that topic? What is suggestion? What I'm topic, what I'm talking, or choose specific topic when you use radio platform to speak to our audience? What is the best suggestion for you?
My best suggestion is actually to find something that and the word passion gets thrown around a lot and it
Mm-hmm.
gets a lot of criticism. Something that you're genuinely interested in or
Mm-hmm.
passionate about that's really a part of you.
Yep.
And maybe it can be as simple as the resilience you've displayed in your life. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily have to be an educational topic.
Yep.
It can just be the fabric of who you are. I mean, I've gone through so many things in my life, the highs and the lows. I often joke
Mm-hmm.
my phoenix, phoenix rising out of the ashes. I say my
Mm-hmm.
phoenix rides a pogo stick. I've been up and down so many times in my life.
Okay.
And that's what I talk about. I share the stories of the challenges I've had and the troubles I've gone through and the great rewards
Mm-hmm.
that I've received from life as well. So that for me is a big part of what I talk about. It's
Mm-hmm.
what I call back to basics: positivity, kindness, generosity, gratitude,
Yep.
visualization, and helping people to understand the power in seeing their goals
Yes.
and going so deep and not just every January saying, okay, I want to be happy, I want to be healthy, and I want more
Mm-hmm.
money, and writing the date. Now that's my goals for this year. And
Yes.
so I've survived and I've gotten this far with all of those things I just mentioned. So that's what I share because it's something I'm an expert on,
Okay.
because it's who I am. And I get challenged sometimes. People have asked me and very, very snotty about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, are you a certified coach? No. Are you a licensed therapist? No. Well, what qualifies you to do this? And I have a little chalkboard, like an
Mm-hmm.
old school chalkboard. And one day I wrote down, this guy lived it. And I drew an arrow, put the arrow next to my face, took a selfie, and I said,
Mm-hmm.
there's your proof right there.
Yeah.
God has kept me alive this long despite some very close calls. That's what qualifies me to speak about what I speak about.
That's great. I really love that because sometimes a lot of experience can teach many great things.
Yeah.
Because when you say what you live,
Mhm.
it's profound and impact more people's life.
Yeah.
Now, I agree with you, Steve, and an experience, when you value the experience, there's something positive we can say to others.
Mhm.
That's great. There's something I learned about you, Steve. You say that you're comedy. Can you talk to me about that? This is just sometimes comedy that can help people who facing some hard time. They can laugh. I'm saying they can, release, positive energy. Talk to us about the other part of your life that you are comedy. Can you speak to us about that, please?
Oh, of course. Yeah. It's funny because I pursued speaking and stand-up comedy.
Okay.
It was inspired in the same exact moment. In
Okay.
August of 2003, I was at a very low point in my life. I had just gotten divorced. I walked away from my radio career,
Okay.
and my self-talk was horrible at the time.
Okay.
I was brutal to myself.
Yes.
And I went and I got a $3 bucket of golf balls at a golf driving range near my
Mm-hmm.
home.
Mm-hmm.
And I went way to the far tee box at the end of the property because I didn't want to dent anybody's car in the parking lot. And I was under steel towered power lines in a thunderstorm, barefoot in the wet grass, holding the club up, daring the lightning to hit me. And the next day, I was talking to a brand new life coach.
Wow.
And he said, how was your week? And I said, well, here's what I did yesterday, which may not have been a good decision. When he stopped laughing, he asked, have you ever thought of being a motivational speaker or a stand-up comedian? I think you'd be really good at both.
Wow.
He didn't know my goals when I was 11 years old, but
Wow.
he heard something and he said, if you can marry, he says, you're a wonderful storyteller. He
Wow.
goes, if you can marry some stories and some humor and help people and inspire people, I think
Yes.
that would make you very, very powerful. So I did stand-up comedy for about 7 years, and I sometimes people say, tell us a joke. I never told jokes. I crafted my storytelling style
Wow.
in comedy
In
and then
comedy.
took that into my speaking. And even now, I literally, well, this is about 13 years ago now. A gentleman walked past me in a grocery store and he
Mhm.
turned around and he goes, "Hey, you're that speaker, right?" And I turned around. We're the only two people in the Captain Crunch cereal aisle. And I said, "Yes,
Okay.
sir, I'm a speaker. What do you remember?" He told me the story I told, the
Wow.
picture that had been on the screen, the lesson that was wrapped in the story, because I want to make sure they get the
Wonderful.
lesson, and how he had applied it a week after he heard me speak to get himself a job.
Oh, great.
It was
Amazing.
3 years after I had spoken that we saw each other at the grocery store.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Yeah, that's an applause for that because on all stories, there's a message behind it.
Yeah.
And then we need to be brave enough and diligent enough to understand the message, or the speaker himself can let us understand the message. That's true, Steve, because you get that gift in you. And until someone help you discover that gift, to put it out, and what to say, we need one another. We need someone that can, hey, you can go for it. Don't stay where you are. You get something greater in you. You get potential. And that's why you are doing right now. Someone help you to discover potential to put it in the service of others. And that's why you're doing also to help others that are listening to you, to your stories, to your gifts, so that they can use their own potential also. And that's wonderful. You said that guy after listening to your stories, and then he could use that same story and got a job. You know, imagine that if you keep that inside of you, maybe
Yeah.
he could not listen to you, maybe another person, but the proper moment he listen to you, he get the benefit to find a job. And then that's why keep on doing that, Steve. Keep on telling others some good stories that can help them go, that can alleviate the pain, the dreams. They can say, yes, let me go and apply that story into practice. That's wonderful, Steve.
Yeah.
Steve,
Thank you.
there's another question I can say. Steve, I said that you lose your wife fast. And then what the lesson you learned from that? Because I can see that you said something, there's something you learn. Let me just go back to you say that when your wife passed, you were down, you don't know what to do, you know what I'm saying? You feel everything collapse. But what lesson you learn from that? Everybody can learn whenever they face tragedy like that. Some of them can lose their wives or their husband, because a woman can listen to that, say, yes, I lost my husband, but what Steve is saying, what you learn from that, I can apply it. What message you learned when your wife passed?
The most important thing, and I was reminded that we did this very, very well,
Mhm.
and this applies to any type of relationship. Know each other's love language, meaning how they feel appreciated, how they feel honored, how they feel respected, how they feel close to you. And there are simple tools online if you just look up for free, how do I find out my love language?
Yes.
And it can teach you how to communicate with each other. And Tina and I got to be in love for 6,386 days, which was
Wow.
17 and a half years when she passed away. And as sad as it was, we were 3,000 miles from home. We were traveling when she passed. So that
Wow.
presented a whole other list of very difficult processes and
Okay.
procedures and paperwork and people that I had to
Hmm.
work with. But I was very grateful that the last words I said to her were, uh, we went to breakfast in our hotel. She had a little work to do on her computer. And I
Hmm.
said, I'll go downstairs to the gym. My last words to her, love you, bye,
Wow.
which is what I always said at home when I went
Yes,
downstairs to work
yes,
out.
yes, yes.
So I'm so grateful that we told each other every day, I love you. And we held hands wherever we went and we cuddled and snuggled. And her favorite thing to do, her favorite way to spend time together, because she wrote this to me in a card that she gave me once,
Wow.
was to sit on the couch, snuggled up after dinner, and just watch TV together. And I used to give her a foot rub every night too, which was just part of a ritual. So my number one thing, know your love language and then know your partners and learn it and have the conversations about it. You know, we like I said, we said I love you every night, and we had our own little rituals with that because she loved to make me laugh. So I'd say,
Mhm.
"Love you," and she'd look at me and say, "I know." And I'd start laughing, and then she would look at me and she'd go, "Thank you."
Wow,
I thought she was going to
wonderful.
say "love you too," and she says, "I know" and "thank you." Oh my gosh, even now, I miss her so much. But even
Wow.
now, that brings me joy. And she
Mhm.
believed in me even when I was down and out and didn't believe in myself. So now everything I do to put everything back together, a big part of it is to honor the belief that she had in me
Right.
and to make her proud and to honor her wishes. So yeah, I love the opportunity to share and to relive our stories. So thank you for that.
Steve, I want to thank you one more time for that great lesson you learned. And then any lesson in your experience, I can learn something right now. And if the listeners, you can learn something for yourself. What I learned now, don't wait for the perfect time to show love to people because you don't know when and how they will pass. You know, if you can start showing love, now do it. Don't be too busy. Don't be too self-centered in your own dream and your own activity. Say, I have time. I don't have time for this. Leave me alone. You know, try to do it both. A time to work on your goals, a time to spend to your family, to loved ones. And it's a lesson I learned for myself. And then I have to give time to my family more. I have to give time for my wife more. I will say, okay, I'm just working in my dream. I'm working my goals. When I get everything set up, I get the money I've been expected. We'll go on a trip. We'll go travel to many countries to spend time together. No, sometimes you don't know if you're going to make it. Start giving love where you are at home. You don't have time to travel. Spend time together. Go out in a bar. Go out in a restaurant. Eat something together. And then what you told me, Steve, love doesn't come automatically. Love create. You create love because
Mhm.
love something you create by good habit, by good manner, by or just say something I love by language love. You create something to pass the love to your loved ones, to your wife, your children, especially many people that you can to. And then it's a great thing. And imagine now we are 2025. If you're expecting to show a love in this year, it'll be too late. You did last year. You did many times you were with her, or many years you have been together. You use that moment to show love with her. Now you're not sorry about anything. You're not regret because you did your best. And congratulations, Steve. That's why I learned the best time to show love is now, than waiting for tomorrow. Do that. Everybody that listening, give love to your wife, to your husband, to your children, everybody, and your mom, your dad. You never know they will leave you. You never know. Thank you, Steve. Your experience can help people. Change the way they live. Give time to people. Give love. Thank you, Steve. And then it's a great lesson, Steve. Now, what you going to bring to our listeners, how they can find you, how they can learn from you, because you get many good stuff in, but our listeners would like to know it from you. Maybe they can go to your website, maybe they can go to your radio station platform to learn from you. Where and how they can connect with you, Steve.
My website is nice and easy. It's stevegamlinspeaker.com and it's Gamlin. You can also find me on Facebook and LinkedIn by my name, Steve Gamlin. And my little podcast is called the Motivational Firewood Podcast because
Wow.
that's the trademark phrase that I own.
Yes.
I'm the motivational firewood guy.
That's wonderful, Steve. Thank you so much. People can learn a lot from you, and then now you have a lot of great thing to offer to the world. And then never give up, Steve. And people listening right now, go to learn from Steve from every podcast because every person is unique in their gift. When you listen to DB podcast, it's not the same thing when I learn when you listen to Steve Gamlin podcast. Every list, every host, every podcaster are unique. If you get a chance to listen to most of them, great. But the best thing, you can learn from them. Everybody, go to Steve Gamlin podcast, listen to it. I'm going to post the link on the show after we're finishing. People can go and click directly and get there because people don't tend to remember. But if you get the link, you can click and go there directly. And then Steve, do you have a specific event you plan to do this year or next year? Even about show people can find you in the States. Do you have
Yeah,
it?
actually, we're working on some stuff now. We've got a whole
Okay.
new website coming out, and we're revamping a lot of my programs as we
Okay.
speak. So there's nothing on the books just yet, but
Okay.
when there is, I'll be announcing it on my website and also on my social media.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you, Steve. Steve, I think that we're going to be the end of the show. I would like you to share something to end because something that people remember because most of the time people don't remember the middle of a conversation. They could remember the end and the beginning. Now let you say something at the end of the show now, Steve.
Yeah. This is the lesson I learned by observing one of my grandfathers. And he never verbalized it, but his actions communicated it. Leave at least one situation per day better than you find it. And that means wherever you are, even if you're in a parking lot at a grocery store, take a moment, take a breath, look around, and just ask yourself, how can I leave this situation better than I find it? Maybe you rescue an abandoned shopping cart.
Mm.
Maybe you hold a door open for someone. Maybe you wave and smile at somebody and wish them a good day.
Yeah.
But if you just keep putting those plus signs out there, here's the coolest part. And I don't do it selfishly, but here's what I've discovered. The person who gets the most positive impact out of it might just be you.
Yes. Thank you, Steve. Everybody, I don't add nothing to it. Keep that word in your mind. Thank you, Steve, for joining us to DB Podcast. Have a wonderful time, listeners. Please get to the website and learn more from that man. And then you will not be sorry, you will not be regretted. You'll be impacted and friends. Thank you, Steve, for joining us
Thank
to
you.
DB Podcast. Have a wonderful time. Bye bye. See you another day. Bye bye, Steve. Thank you so much. Bye bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye bye.